Welcome to quite the crew with us tonight. We have Sam, Joe, Tim, Maxine will be with us shortly, and special guest MADkurious. How is everybody tonight?
Doing all right.
Good.
Doing all right. Always happy to have a guest here. So,
Absolutely.
Glad to be here. Thanks for having me.
no problem.
Th- Thanks for accepting the invite.
Yeah.
If I can kind of just start off with a question, like, what is your general background and how did you get into the gaming space?
I've been gaming since I was, I don't know, a young kid. I have a pocket Game Boy black and white back there. So I've been gaming forever and ever. And been Nintendo, PC, and then I got into PlayStation. I didn't have an Xbox until super recently, but now I have them all. So I've been gaming forever. But for internet gaming, because I was pretty much outside of the realm of, social media and gaming, which is a totally different thing. That was in 2020. So once I got into that, now it's a totally different world where you have everybody else's opinions involved in your gaming. So a
Oh, yeah.
totally different world.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And like as far as like streaming goes, because I do see that you've done some streaming.
Oh yeah.
Is that something that you were like always interested in doing, or is that something that you just like kind of picked up
Yeah. No,
by by
I
accident?
yeah, I never did actually. I actually did have a brief stint where I was thinking about broadcast journalism in college, but other than that, no, I wasn't into streaming. I have one of the weirdest ways I got into it compared to other people. I had never seen Twitch in my life. I just saw on PlayStation that you could go live on Twitch and YouTube, and I did it once, maybe twice back in 2017, just to see what it was. And I think I streamed a little Assassin's Creed or something. And it was like an hour with just maybe a mic or something on my headphones, and that was it. Didn't touch it again. Then, of course, 2020 hit. We're all inside playing Call of Duty with some friends, Warzone actually. And I was like, I wonder if anybody would think we're funny and want to hang out. Because we were already kind of doing that in I forget what it's called, the house, was it House Party? There was an app where you could go and you could just join friends.
Oh yeah,
Yeah. So we were kind of doing that where we'd be on that on an app while we were playing games. And so I was like, why don't we just go live and see if anybody like wants to hang out with us? And did that. And then Last of Us 2 was coming out. So I did Last of Us and Last of Us 2. And I started getting kind of the hang of it. And I was like, this is fun. And started watching people. And it's like, oh, this is a whole culture. So it was such a weird way to get into it. I'd never watched a stream before I started streaming.
Oh my God! So you were like one of the early streamers of the train wreck that is The Last of Us 2. Then
I love it. It's my favorite game, but I know a lot of people do not feel the same.
really,
Yep.
well, I guess to each their own.
Yeah.
So I mean, I'm also like
Gamers with opinion? No way.
well, I mean, I'm also a writer and and an author. So
Yeah.
like I'm the type that I mean, I was still in college when during the pandemic, but when I played that game, I was like poking plot holes, and whatnot. And
Yep.
I mean, I do think that that game gets like some of the hate for it is a little over exaggerated, I will say, but
Yeah.
like it's not. I like one better personally.
Yeah, and I could see that for a lot of people. I think with there's definitely plot holes in pretty much any story you can pick up, and you can pick up things and imperfections, and I've done that a lot myself. I do that a lot with art, so for me, it's more just the experience of it every time feels cathartic and amazing and unique. Every single time I play it, and I'll play it with a different style of play every time. I'll have a different angle on it, and the gameplay itself is just so good. And so pairing that with that cathartic story every time, I don't know. There's something about it going through that emotional journey. I love it.
I'm like that with Witcher 3.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, look, I've played RDR2 like more times than I can count. However, I just started like live streaming for my PS5, and I've been playing The Witcher, so with no commentary, so that's been fun.
And I totally haven't been
So
backseat gaming.
not at all. So, but anyway, so more what brings our guests
Well,
on?
Mads and I are mutuals of at least a couple of weeks, and we have some interesting conversations back and forth. And what spawned me wanting to invite her onto to the show is the article that I've got up here in the background. Uh, Vinyl has sound, books have paper, games have one thing Sony wants back. And I found this a really interesting read from Mads, and it's just something that I thought would be a good spawning point for discussion. And yes, we talked about bits and pieces of Sony and them wanting to end physical media for video games
Mhm.
while promoting uh, vinyl physically on other parts of their company. So that's odd.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah, it is weird, especially since like I was actually thinking about this today. Like I remember when I first got the PlayStation 3 way back when at launch, one of like the big selling points for that for the PS3 specifically was
You could share games with friends.
Mm-hmm.
not even that more, but like Blu-ray was a new format for like movies and whatnot at the time. And Blu-ray players back in the day were expensive, so I remember the thought being that you might as well buy a PS3 because it was a Blu-ray player that you could play games on for like the super normie people that were just getting into gaming
Makes
then.
sense.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, so I wrote this because there was no one talking about the data behind anything, It was just, oh, I'm upset, or oh, I don't care. It was, one side or the other, and there wasn't a lot of data. So I wanted to throw some data in there and say, hey, here's what has happened to other industries. What does that look like for this industry? And it's funny because the reason I chose that title is that we've had this happen in many other industries to some degree, right? We've had where they will go digital, but there will be more of the luxury items now that are physical. So with vinyl, right, you're actually getting a better sound than you do
Right.
through your phone, right? Or your computer or anything else. And then with books, you're getting that tangible experience of flipping a page, and everything about that is tangible and different, as you go through the book. So it's not exactly the same experience when you're talking about a physical game because we don't actually have a physical experience with the game itself. You do in terms of playing it, right? But with the actual game, it really is technically a digital file that just has a distribution system that's a disk, or it could be a cartridge, or it could be a digital code. And that all can be more or less the same for distribution. Where it changes is the actual ownership behind it, right? And so it doesn't have that special thing for the physical in the way that some of these others do. It's just that ownership feature. And then when you start looking into it further, something I didn't get as far into in this article, because then I learned a lot more about it later, was ownership outside of physical and stuff like what GOG's doing. So there's so many layers to this. And I think
love GOG.
I think when we get into and we see just no disc, no buy, I was a little bit friendly towards it when I wrote this article. I was like, okay, I can see where people are coming from. I want to see where I can get involved and to what extent, even though I'm not a big boycotter. I'm like, I think I start the article with that. I'm like, I'm not really into boycotts and movements. Let me see where this is going. Maybe there's a level to this that I can get involved in, at the very least, inspire some ideas for entrepreneurs that might want to build in the space and help us all have more options, And then I saw that the movement was not not so good. So I've had definitely some interesting journey since writing this article, because my goodness, everybody is so angry.
I feel you, because like as an independent author, like I'm actually one of the few people who like I use AI in like my writing workflow,
Mm-hmm.
and
Mm-hmm.
people think that because I use AI and because I'm open to using AI, people who don't like, you know, who won't even listen to me, they think I just let my AI like write all my books for me.
Yep.
And that's not at all what I've done. But like like so I actually like published an article about like how I use AI, and like yeah, there are concerns, valid concerns about AI, but I think people are throwing the baby out with the bathwater. And so man, yeah, we looks like we both put out like controversial articles or what
That's great.
or
Yeah. And
whatnot.
I'm personally more pro AI than most people you'll find in the gaming and streaming spaces, because I used it all day at work today. I
Yeah.
had to have my credits unlocked because I was doing so much important work with it that needed to get done. It's already in society. People don't really understand to the extent that it is in most companies. Once they understand that, I think the creative space will be a little bit more friendly to it, because they kind of have to. It's just going to be by the nature of understanding that it's like breathing air. AI is going to be pretty much everywhere you look.
Yeah, but like specifically with the book publishing
Yeah.
industry, like not to get too far off on a tangent, but for whatever reason, books like always want to go like kicking and screaming. This even happened when like, The Witcher got adapted into, a video game.
Mm-hmm.
All the book purists were like, we don't want those, gamers like coming in and ruining, uh, no one's going to read the book because it's going to cheapen the experience,
Mm-hmm.
blah, 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 all that.
I,
So,
I'm I, I'm one of those weird people that started with Witcher 3, played one and two, and then I now own all 9 books. So, what's that
yeah.
tell you?
Yep.
So, but anyway, not to get too far off in the weeds, but yeah. So your article, I'm just kind of skimming through, and
Mm-hmm.
you make some really solid points here.
Yeah. Tried to go with the data. I work in finance, actually, so this is pretty familiar territory to me. So I wanted to write about some of the kind of monetary side, the company side. I mean, I spend a lot of time in business strategy just day to day, so it's something I'm very passionate about. And when I get to, share that on social media for something that seems kind of important to a lot of people, it seems like a good way to kind of combine the two. And I think this article did resonate with people more than some of my other thoughts later on.
Yeah.
Right. But yeah, I think it was a good start to where I was going with it. And I think if people understood where I started and more people knew that I wrote this article and then went kind of anti no dis, no buy for a reason, and went more buy physical, buy demand, they would see how that evolved, because this is showing, the places where people are still buying physical media, they're still buying physical media. But there wasn't this big boycott for certain things. It was just these things naturally evolved, right? Um, you know, some of the bookstores ended up dying, right? There were things that fell off, but over time, everything kind of just sorted itself out, and we still have real books, right? And so I think there's a place for physical media in the industry. I think there always will be. And if people want it that badly, we can come up, like, there are entrepreneurs that can come up with those companies to facilitate that in some way, whether it's helping the really small Steam creators or something have the potential for creating physical media for their games, or someone coming up with a new type of console with certain things, or a business for people who figure out how to take their games and put them on stuff from their PCs. So I think there's a lot of opportunity in this space. When there's a problem, there's always a solution that could be really creative and fun. And I think where people are seeing problems, it could actually be a really fun new way to have kind of that niche experience, kind of like we do with retro, right? And still having arcades. Arcades haven't gone anywhere. And so I know Sony's like, we're going digital, but that doesn't mean that physical actually dies if we don't want it to, you know?
Well,
And just so people are aware, I'm not obviously not going to tell you how to in the process, but if you want and you are strictly a Steam user, there are ways to make your games digital. I mean, make your games physical.
Yep.
yeah.
There was one thing that had like a slot that basically that you put it in, and then it actually boots up the game once you put it in, and it's really kind of cool. Also, I will say with the matter of art, everybody likes physical painted kind of like stuff. It's always going to be somewhat niche. I think artists that actually do paintings probably are actually the best for media and art that doesn't like that won't fade away from AI.
Yep.
And let's face it, part of why this Pokemon and TCG boom is happening right now is because people like art.
Yep. If it has that human component to it that people like. And funny enough, I guess Pokemon technically it's more of the experience than the human component. You know, if you have something special that is not like it literally can't be replicated from AI, if you're creating an experience or a human connection, then AI can't replace that. It's replacing more of the kind of bottom level, okay, well, I just need something drawn real quick, you know?
Yeah.
And not gonna lie, there are lesser known TCGs that are experimenting with AI and AI art. But from what I've seen, because I'm kind of tapped into that side of gaming, because I've been a Magic player since '96, on and off, and the ones that are trying to strictly go AI aren't doing very well.
Yeah, and I mean, again, like, so I use like AI image generation to like design my covers just because like I can't afford to hire like a lot of high-end you know, like artists. But like I've also taken graphic design too, so like I know how to like augment that stuff with my, with my own techniques.
Right,
So
and that's how you're different there, Sammy. You're taking AI and tweaking it to your specific needs, where others are literally just trying to take it and spit out the most low effort things that they can.
yeah, and that's kind of my biggest like complaint is everyone who's like complaining that like AI is taking everything over, they don't understand like if you put out the most generic like low effort like prompts, you're going to get the most like low effort, generic slop prompts.
Yeah, but there's a lot of people out there that's exactly what they like. You see that on TikTok. Hi, I'm Maxine, by the way. I was having technical difficulties, but I'm here now. And it's funny. It's funny because this is finally something I can actually talk about because you guys know that I use AI to do like the cover art for our songs and stuff like that. And I've been sharing you a lot of the AI that I've been working on. And I have friends that do the AI art, and theirs is to go with like a POV story. So it's actually like their characters they created, and they are now getting that, oh, this is just AI slop. Oh, this is that. She's hearing all that stuff, and I'm just sitting there and I'm like, yeah, you're going to hear that because there's some people that just for whatever, their own reasons, they're just completely against AI. Or there are the people that are on the fence about it, but because they see that there are people that hate on it so much, are afraid to say anything just because they don't want to get the backlash, which respect, I get that. But then there's also the people that are just fucking jealous because they can't get like, Gemini or Grok or fucking Meta AI to work and do what they want because they don't realize that when you are working with that stuff, yeah, you have to be specific with your prompts. Because I mean, sometimes you put a prompt in and you get a person with like 4 arms and you're like, where the fuck did they come from? I didn't say that. So it is difficult when you're like making images and you're making the videos of the AI. It's difficult. And yeah, you see that stuff with the debate over AI across like every platform with every type of art and shit like that.
Oh yeah. Um. Oh, go ahead.
I was gonna go ahead and say also, I mean, AI art and everything like that is a really good kind of like muse and actually a good concept design. Like, I really think that people, whenever they discount it, really don't see the potentiality of it.
Mhm.
Right. They don't know what they're doing as far as like Maxine is saying, using the prompts to tinker with it and get the results that they want out of it.
Yeah, you have to
Yeah.
be almost you can use it as a beginner to learn, but if you're an expert, then you are directing the AI. And a lot of people aren't quite an
Right.
expert of the craft in the way that they think they are, to the point that they can actually direct someone else to do it. It's like teaching someone else to do it, but being able to prompt it. And so if they aren't quite there, then, they feel like the AI is competing with them. And really, it's truly getting to that level where you can kind of tell the AI what to do. That's really it.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah, I was just gonna say, Max, like that's exactly what he was saying because with him making music, he had a lot of people that were telling him that like it's not his, he didn't make it, it's AI, and it's like, well, yeah, like one, you have to like do the prompt right to be able to get the sounds you want, the instruments you want, but they seem to forget that with with Suno and other apps like that, you can actually input your own instruments. So there's a lot of stuff that Max did that he sat down at his computer with his little keyboard thing and he made like the drums and the all the freaking things that he always bragged about to you
Right.
guys in his songs.
If you know, bouncing off that your point there, Maxine, as long as you knew, like Max and I know music theory, you can put all of your theory into Suno and create some really awesome stuff.
yeah.
Yeah, exactly. But you can also put your own, like, there are people that it's straight up, they're playing the guitar, they're
Right.
playing the piano, they're playing the violin. They just took the recording that they did, put it into Suno, and then use the AI to like help with background music or to help emphasize something or whatever. Like, it's literally a tool, and like I love that people that get so upset about it, but it's like, what do you think artists have been using for their music
Mhm.
forever? What do you think auto tune is? What do you think a lot of the directors, they're using for stuff in their movies? AI. So how can you like sit there and be like, oh, it's perfectly fine for that because it's Hollywood, but then other people that are using it, no, it's not. It's you're not doing. It's like it's just so stupid.
I mean, it's a lot of gatekeeping, which is that's another thing with like Sony and kind of getting back to gaming. I feel like a lot of this on at least Sony's end, and I think Microsoft is guilty of it too. A lot of this like a lot of this like going, diskless. It does seem to be like a push, to make sure that they can't buy like that gamers can't buy like games like second or third hand
Yeah. Oh,
Right.
absolutely.
anymore.
Yeah, that's
Um,
why I've been buying them up more so they'll get into the market. You know what I
yeah,
mean? And trying to push people to do that before they
Yeah,
get rid of them.
they absolutely hate that we can trade in games, trade them to our friends, let our friends borrow games, and they don't get a piece of that secondary market. They've hated that for literally decades.
now,
It's funny though because it's not exactly like we get a lot back when we trade them in. I
Right.
mean, like you guys know, I'm not a super huge gamer. Like I don't claim to be a gamer. I play The Sims and like Solar Punk. That's it. But like, sorry, I remember Max complaining all the time when he'd go and he'd bring his games in, and he'd be like, $50 I paid for it, and I got like $5 back. I'm like, well, then why do you keep doing it? And like, I forget, how he gets when he starts explaining stuff and he gets like philosophical. And I'm like, I just asked why you keep bringing games back when you don't get that much back. Like, I don't, wow. Um, But yeah, it's not exactly like you're making bank when you bring the games back. Like, it's still them making the money. It's still whatever store you're bringing it to that's making the money. So it's just, if that's it, that it's really just down to fucking greed and the almighty dollar. And how fucking sad is that?
And that
I mean,
that's
you can sell it, to other people though too, and you can skip the GameStops and everything.
it's,
Yeah.
Yeah,
and
That
I
is
bought
true.
quite a few
That's
off
true.
of eBay. Yeah.
That's the other thing that they're trying to get rid of is the right of first sale.
Well, and that's actually something I wanted to ask about too, because like, yeah, there are physical discs, but at the same time, like for the PS5, because like I have one that has a disc drive, and a couple of like the physical games that I've bought, like that I have physical copies for, all they do is go online and like download, you know. So basically, like all the disc have is like a key to like download like a digital version, but then also the disc has to be inside the machine for that thing to work, which I think is weird.
Right. It's weird. It requires the disk and requires the internet. So it's a whole weird thing. And the other thing that happened since this whole situation with Sony and saying we're done with disk in 2028 is they've started limiting when you buy the PS5, limiting the number of disk drives that you can buy with your console to one per console.
Can you explain that to me, since I'm like, console illiterate here?
Well, there's a couple of different versions of the PS5. One with the disk drive and one without, and you can actually buy a secondary disk drive for the digital only PS5 and hook it to your digital only and make it so you can use discs for with your console. And Sony has physically or restricted people buying one disk drive per order. If you want to get rid of discs and disk drives, why are you limiting how many people can buy?
That just seems like really stupid to me. But again, like, I really don't know much about that stuff, but it does seem stupid.
Because you would think they would want all that inventory out of their warehouses as soon as possible if they're going down this route.
Yeah. I mean, if they're going to push anyone towards like downloading codes anyway, like DRM is the biggest issue I
Right.
have, is whether or not they get rid of games or keep them. Like, I think DRM should still be a thing, so, or DRM free rather.
Yeah. I
Yeah,
said that the
I
other
agree.
day, and people roasted me. They were like, "No, absolutely not." I was like, I thought that was one of the most important issues, was DRM free, to be honest.
Well, like for the indie developers, like I can see like what the issue isn't necessarily DRM, because I do think that like digital creators should have some protections from like getting their like digital files ripped off, right? But the way DRM works, like there's got to be a better system for the way it
Right, and
for the way it
there's
works.
this thing that the big boys like to use called the Nouveau, and the Nouveau's been cracked so many times it's not doing what they want it to.
Yeah.
I've got this tweet in the background from Sony Electronics that's promoting the niche of vinyl and record players. I'm like, and I think we were talking about this on Wednesday, Sammy, on the Whitfield report, where you've got two arms of the Sony company promoting two different two different voices and stances on physical media.
Well, and as I said on Wednesday, that just goes to show that like I don't think people in the company talk to each other, because there seems to be like really inconsistent branding.
Right. It's okay for music to have its own niches and keep physical media, but how dare us gamers try to keep our physical media?
Well, I mean, also like the Walkmans are still popular. Like I love MP3s. It's definitely worth it rather than just have like a bunch of stuff on Spotify. I mean, it's a lot more cheaper. Just go ahead and have all your music over on Spotify. But there is something about having like an MP3, not touching your phone, and then just listening to your own music.
But I still have my Sony Discman, so I literally still listen to CDs as well.
It's awesome. I mean, I think it's interesting because vinyl does have a different experience, and like you guys are saying, it's that different physical experience. And a game is always, in some way, digital when it's a video game, right? So,
right.
It's interesting that there isn't a tangible, yet we focus so much on wanting the tangible. And I think that's just human nature, right? To want something outside the digital, but
just human nature to want something tactile to hold.
Yeah.
It's not just personal example. I'm not. I understand people like digital books, and I even own a couple of books. Some of Sam's included. But to me, I've got a stack of physical books that I just can't. I can't part with because there's just something more fun, I guess, to have something in my hand and chill with.
Yeah. I mean, I will say, like, I do personally like Kindle ebooks as far as like, for me, like having a physical disability, like print size and having the ability to adjust like print size is definitely great for ebooks instead of like carrying around like those really like heavy large print books. But like I don't think it's necessarily an either or situation either.
Right. It's just really what you're comfortable with as far as what book it is, who the author is, what's available, what's not.
Yeah, and like what the page layout is, and like same thing with like games. Like if you're going to give me a game in like a really flimsy like jewel case that doesn't like even protect the game, I might as well get it digitally. But like if you're going to give me a nice steel case, then yeah, I'll spend the extra money for that.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, I just got my first one actually right here from Resynced. It's my very first one.
Nice.
Yeah.
And I know you were spending last weekend playing Resynced. I'm guessing you played the original as well. And
oh yeah, I have the speedrun record in the original, so this was a big launch for me, or the console speedrun record specifically. But
oh nice.
So I've been playing it all year, the original. So I was really excited for just seeing what Resynced would be. I wasn't sure if I'd even like it, to be honest, because I love the original so much. I was nervous that I would compare it too much and not like it at all. But I ended up liking it a lot. I am not as crazy about some components, like the combat hasn't been hitting for me most days, but the ship combat is phenomenal. They really took ship to the next level with it. But yeah, there's some components of it that are really neat, and seeing how they focused more on kind of characterization and kind of his life not outside of the pirating, but that he was building with it, instead of just the kind of the main story, was kind of neat. I mean, it felt more developed and fleshed out as a story, and with all these new characters. So I will say some of the new writing was not as good, but the way that they were going about it, I thought was interesting. So I've really enjoyed it.
Awesome.
That's good.
So since you do have a background in finance, I do have a interesting kind of, I guess, open-ended question for you. With the PS6 supposedly, like, in all these other consoles being rumored to be like, $1,000 upward, there are a lot of people I know who, myself included, are like, man, I just, I can't justify the cost of, that for, especially like with the, with the PS5 being, current still, like, I'm going to keep that for a few years.
Yep.
Do you think that, like, basically, I mean, the video game space always used to be very, like, accessible as far as, like, there was a very limited, entry. There was a very, like, low entry point to where, like, a lot of people could join. And now it feels like with all these increases, it feels like now the gaming space is becoming a little more, restrictive as far as, like, barrier to entry. Do you think that's true? And or, like, what's your opinion? And
I
then
think a lot of people forget the old days, and that's not to say that I don't agree that they're getting too expensive, but I think a lot of people forget our roots. There was a family PC growing up, right? And we would play, I'm dating myself a little bit, but we would, switch out. I'd be able to play some PC games when nobody was using it, that sort of thing. And, getting a Game Boy was a huge deal, you know what I mean? And you would get maybe a couple of games a year max for anything that you had. You were treasuring each of those games. So there was no complaint about these games. You took that game and you treasured it and you played the heck out of it, right? And same with, N64, right? Like I have maybe 6 games back there. Now, what a lot of people don't remember is all of the trading in, the renting, right? We forget our roots. It's like we didn't own everything. We rented, we borrowed, we traded. And so most of the games that you played as a kid, you might not even own now. And so, I think we forget those days where it was a really big deal for a family to buy a console. I mean, they were quite expensive back then. And then it got to a point where everybody was getting them, right? It was very normal for a console to be a household item. So it went from a luxury to a household item. It's kind of becoming a luxury again. And I think people forget the roots of where gaming started because it was that niche thing. And so people who really wanted it, it became a priority and it became a thing. But now that it's everywhere, now it's raising even more. And I do think they are getting vastly too expensive, but I think it's because they didn't raise it for so much time. They should have been raising it a little bit at a time, and then it wouldn't have had to be this giant jump to try to make up for lost time. I think it was also bold that the Steam machine decided to do the jump before anyone else as like a new console. Right. I think that's insane. But I think they have something in their analytics and their research that they said, oh, you know what? We can probably sell at this price point. Because another thing that people forget is as much as like the economy sucks and for a lot of people it'll be a struggle, there is still a market for expensive luxury goods at all times. You know what I mean? Right. There's people that can afford it, and so they sell to them. And I think if they're going more on that luxury end, they're saying, hey, you might not be able to buy it for a few years, or, you might have to stick to some of the old stuff, but we're going to make games for all of it. Anyway, I don't know exactly what their thought is here, but it could be more luxury. It might be where they're going because they're taking these 20-year development cycles for some of these games. You know what I mean? It's very possible they're just going the more luxury route at this point. But I also hope that the economy will shift with the times. But the thing is, all of the like gaming in general, the industry is not kept up with the inflation of every other industry. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Right. And also, I think what's going to happen is people, just like people have been using services like Game Pass and whatnot, they're gonna start quote unquote renting their consoles.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Absolutely.
Yeah.
So it'd be almost like a cable box
Yes.
that you
Mhm.
basically have.
Mm-hmm.
That's
Yeah.
unfortunate.
Well, and I mean that's kind of the other thing is I
I mean,
definitely
they have Klarna for fast food.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
yeah.
How are you giving back fast food?
Well, I mean, there could be some neuromancer-esque, like sci-fi dystopian.
Are we gonna have Max that come after you and like chop off the limb?
Pretty much,
Probably.
yeah. That's
No.
I wouldn't be surprised.
The Repo movie, the genetic opera.
yeah. That's exactly what I was getting at, but I didn't want to get too graphic.
But that's such a good, like, the movie is so fucking good, and the music is, like, fun, and yeah, the story is pretty fucking gruesome, but at least you get the fucking point.
It is so cool. It was like one of my favorite movies as a kid.
I mean, I think a lot of these gaming companies are just going to be shocked because I hope they're ready for like a large part of their like consistent player base to just like drop off because like a lot of people just won't be able to afford to buy the consoles outright anymore.
Yeah, I know if I was just a regular casual gamer at this point, there's no way I would buy it right away. I probably will as a streamer, but I wouldn't have as just a casual gamer. I was actually buying most of my games a year after launch. Most of my consoles a year after launch,
Yeah, I still do that. There's very few games. I'm a PC gamer, but there's still very few games that I buy day of or within the first 6 months of a launch. The only game this year in 2026 that I'm doing is Blood of Dawnwalker.
Yeah. The only reason to buy something right at launch is if you really want to be a part of the discussion surrounding it, which is what's so big about social media and gaming now, right?
Yeah.
But other than that, it's just, oh, I just really want to play this game. But I mean, if you can wait a little while, you're almost always going to get a cheaper price. So
yeah, and hopefully that continues.
Yeah.
Well, and that's the other thing as far as the digital storefronts and walled gardens. The PlayStation Store and Xbox have this really bad habit of not discounting games.
Mhm.
Well,
Yeah.
you've literally got to go to the likes of like Amazon or other retailers for the digital code to get any sort of discount.
Although I believe today, or no, I believe for James Bond Day they are going to be discounting First Light.
Nice.
Oh, that's cool. That might be when I finally get it then. I've been waiting for a discount.
It's
So-
that was the one game I bought like on launch day because I'm kind of connected with the James Bond commentary community and it's pretty good.
I still have my copy of Agent Under Fire. I played a little bit of it a year or so ago, and I have the what's it called, like the little booklet for Nightfire. So I had that at some point too. I think I had a bunch of them, and you know how it goes. You were trading things in back then. But yeah, I James Bond was like my Call of Duty. You know how people talk about Call
same.
of Duty with fondness doing the local game. That was my Call of Duty with James Bond.
Yes, same here. I used to I used to get together with friends and play Nightfire multiplayer.
Yeah, after school, like every day. I had a couple friends that would come over and we would play. We would all take turns practicing piano actually for an hour, and then the rest of us would cycle through and we'd play, and it was so fun. It was so fun.
Yeah, I have a younger sister who's 13, and I'm in my 30s, and I I was explaining to her how multiplayer, when I was a kid, you actually went to someone's house and
Mm-hmm.
it was
Had this little cardboard divider, so you couldn't cheat.
yeah, and if anyone looked over, you would get beaten with the controller, which those things, if you've been hit with one, they leave marks.
Max
So.
told me about he called them Xbox parties, and like your friends would just like bring the Xbox over, like hook them up, and I don't know, like I just remember him talking about that like an old thing that like I'm sure you would say that now, and some people would be like, "What the fuck are you talking about?"
I remember him. I remember playing StarCraft 2 on LAN. It was awesome.
Yeah. So one question I have is, so have you been able to like monetize your game streams at all?
Oh yeah, I did it for. I actually was full time for 3 years. I went back into finance in September. I loved it. It was so fun. I mean, I did huge gaming events. I did 15 years and 15 weeks where I played all of the Assassin's Creed main lines back to back. I touched all of the Tomb Raiders back to back. I didn't finish them, but I did touch them all back to back for can't remember how many weeks. I would do certain games, new releases like Shadows, AC Shadows, where I would play it all in a row over many, many days. So the best part of that was being able to do those crazy marathon streams and nothing like the big streamers or anything, but just having that opportunity to be able to game how I wanted to game and experience stories how I wanted to experience them rather than having to do it over weekends and evenings, you know?
Right.
It was such a blessing. It was so cool. Yeah, so I mean, streaming is truly a huge passion of mine. I love it. I have like a little cult family almost. I love
Yeah.
them. Yeah.
I feel, I mean, I've been podcasting for 20 years just about, and I feel very much the same way. Monetization though is always like kind of an interesting thing because there are some people who think that like, oh well, you're a monetized streamer, you must make bank, and it's like, well, you can if you get like millions and millions of followers, but if you don't, if you're not monetized, you might get like beer money
Mm-hmm.
at most.
Yeah, there's so many varying levels of it, you know. I mean,
Sometimes beer money's enough.
yeah. There's a lot of varying levels. I mean, in the millions too. You know, you see like TikTok numbers are different than Twitch and Twitter and YouTube. Everything's a little bit different, right? You can make a lot of money off of hundreds of thousands of views on YouTube, right? A lot of money depending on what niche you're in and if you do sponsorships and such, right? Versus on TikTok, 100,000 views is nothing, right? So, and on here, if you had 100,000 viewers on like, you know, a streaming platform, you're absolutely killing it, right? You're top of the top. So it really just depends on the platform and what sort of monetizations you're doing. I mean, entertainment in general just has so many ways that it can make money, but none of them are all that straightforward other than, you know, just tipping. So
yeah, and I find that like, now with the way things are, people are very hesitant to tip now, just because of the economy versus like, 5-6 years ago, people were tipping me just for like, doing like my news commentary show.
Yeah, I'm sure it was a different world way back before, you know, the pandemic and everything. Can't even imagine. Yeah.
So, but what else is on the docket?
Well, there's this little game that I'm sure our good brother Joe may or may not have something to talk about. Halo Campaign Evolved that came out a couple of weeks ago, and that's part of the reason why I was hoping to get Joe on last week. We had some issues, but thankfully we got him on this week. And hey Joe, what are your opinions of Campaign Evolved?
Oh, the Halo family is toxic as shit. That's the problem. And they're ungrateful little dweebs.
So
Simply put, did I want a new campaign like redone from back in the day? No, I didn't want that. I want a new Halo game. But this is what they're making. So either shut the fuck up and play it or don't.
Yeah.
So have you played it yet? Is the question.
No, I'm a little broke, and I don't pay top tier Game Pass.
Okay, well,
Okay, reasonable.
that's reasonable. As has anyone here played it? I forgot it was coming out.
I played the OG, but I haven't played the new one.
Also played
yeah.
the OG. Do you have any feelings on? Does anybody have any feelings about how they changed the character from an old Halo dev to random, not Halo dev?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
But I will say the one thing that I'm a little bit disappointed about is no multiplayer.
Right.
I really like. That's where I played LAN. That's where I played like LAN parties and stuff. It's like in that area. I loved it.
Yeah, that is a little disappointing, and that probably would have got their sales way skyrocketing on this. But that's not what they did because they hate us.
And just to point out what I'm talking about, the gentleman here in the chair of this picture, top picture, the guy on the right was one of the programmers from the original theme. And
Oh,
as you can see in the bottom part of the picture, he's been replaced.
that's a bummer. Huh.
Big bummer.
Like that's the old Bungie guy,
Right.
the old Bungie dev. You might as well go ahead and have him, and also have like your roots like still stuck there. That's definitely a bummer.
Don't want to bum people out too much, but it was revealed earlier in the week that had happened. But a topic that I find little more interesting, not about the Halo, but about our friends at PSA, is they're getting sued. Class
wow.
action lawsuit against PSA. This really only pertains to games and gaming because of the way, well, graded gamings, but also Pokemon, Yu-Gi-Oh, Magic, and all, and TCGs have a really, in my opinion, have a really bad habit of grading cards. Like, how are you going to play with your cards if you got them in plastic now, like hard plastic? Unless you've got an entire deck of hard plastic.
Yeah.
Wow.
PSA hit with a class action lawsuit accusing trading card giant of widespread fraud. Proposed class action filed against Professional Sports Authenticator (PSA) and parent company Collectors Holdings, accusing the trading card giant of misleading customers about its how the grading system works. Filed on the 28th, District Court of Maryland. It's a 188-page complaint. Alleges PSA falsely markets its grading process as objective, consistent, and independent, while claiming company instead relies on subjective evaluations and business practices that financially benefit from repeated submissions. And I find it interesting because I know a couple people that are trading card collectors that have done videos on repeatedly submitting the same card over and over and over again, getting different grades until they get a grade that they're happy with. And there's also a side of PSA that I don't think should exist, along with the grading side of the company, they also buy and sell cards as well. So they benefit from giving cards better grades. Then we also have a person by the name of Logan Paul that, has. I'm sure everybody has seen. Well, most people have seen him with his Pokemon cards and doing wild things, grading them, and I don't. Personal belief, I don't believe PSA is going to see Logan Paul's name on a mailer and give him an absolute dog shit grade.
Right.
I don't believe it.
Interesting. Huh.
Because let's face it, somebody with Logan Paul status, they PSA gets good word from Logan Paul. All of his fans are gonna throw their cards towards PSA and give them, because it's not a free service to have your cards graded, and it's a sliding scale depending on how much your cards are worth.
I remember baseball cards. Not fucking Pokemon cards. Come on.
Old man Joe.
Come on, I had the Roger Staubach rookie card, bro.
Nice.
You want to talk about old? I had almost the entire collection of the New Kids on the Block cards.
My sister had that. My older sister had that. Come on. You can't be that old. I mean, I was.
I'm 40. I don't hide it. I'm 40.
I'm 46. My sister was a huge New Kids on the Block fan, so she had all that crap. She had VHSs of them, posters, all that good stuff. Those chicks were.
I just had
there.
the cards and like a cassette.
I didn't know they had cards.
Yeah, it was like, like different shots from concerts, and they'd have oh my god, I even had like the little fucking mermaid fucking cards. I had like all those.
Wow.
And it was basically like that, where different shots from concerts, facts about the guys, candid shots, all that stuff that, girls go crazy for.
Yeah, that sounds about right for New Kids on the Block hype.
Cool story. I found out my mom gave me these two like thick binders to give to my son. They were my dad's. They are, I think Max said, the complete collection of the Star Trek Next Generation fucking collectible cards, and it's actually kind of cool.
That was a big show. I mean, that is pretty cool. I'm not a Trekkie, but that is pretty sweet, actually.
Yeah, that is.
I watched that show with my dad, and yeah, it I like never wanted to admit it, because like it was always a show that you got made fun of if you liked it because you got called the Trekkie. But it's like, yeah, I watched it with my dad. Yeah, it was cheesy, stupid, but it was actually like, it was so much fun. Captain Jean-Luc Picard, come on.
Yep. I've always been like a DS9 guy, though.
DS9?
Yep.
What is that?
Deep Space Nine.
Oh, yeah, I don't know much about that show.
The last thing I really wanted to cover tonight was there was an article from Xbox CEO Asha Sharma about the four priorities under her leadership for Xbox.
Boo.
Interesting.
Xbox Asher Sharma has outlined key priorities for Microsoft's gaming business following its recent restructuring, detailing how the company plans to return to growth after sweeping layoffs and studio closures. In a memo obtained by the Verge, Sharma said Xbox's goal was to return to player to, to player and revenue growth by the end of fiscal year 2027, while improving profitability after what Microsoft described as a major reset of the business. Uh, Xbox CEO for priorities core strengthen our platform led by console content grow games in the global franchises. Okay, then what are you doing with Halo? Because that was kind of a massive flop for everything everybody's saying right now. Creation make Minecraft the world's creator platform. Connection extend the the worlds that fans love. I don't have a background in business, so I don't know what. I mean,
Feels like she's not saying a ton, you know?
Right.
Feels like she's just saying a lot of yeah, she's not giving a lot of details of what that would actually encompass.
Right.
And it gives them room to really do whatever they want at this point. I mean, it's definitely not pissing off people as much as Sony is right now, but
Right. I would have liked to see like a 4.5.
Yeah.
Keep physical media. That would have made people happy.
Which would be interesting because they don't even have a drive. Well, they have the other one. Actually, I have the one that doesn't have the drive for Xbox, but
yeah,
man.
But I say that specifically because that would have been a reverse of what PlayStation did to Microsoft and Xbox.
Of course, Xbox has been doing the everything's an Xbox, so
right.
Very, very different strategy. It's weird how much they've just shifted course over the last few years. It feels like nobody has any idea what they're doing at that company ever.
I think it's really just terrible management. I mean, they're just kind of like flying off the seat of their pants.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's no consistency. There's no whatever strategy they have goes out the window when they see something else shiny or when something goes wrong. It's they're playing very short-term games. They don't have a very good long-term vision, clearly, because everything they say one year is completely gone the next. I mean, the fact that everything's an Xbox is gone, right? It's just absurd how fast they're moving into new things without ever finishing what they started.
I will say the Xbox ROG Ally is really good for like a portable gaming.
The handheld.
Yeah, it definitely doesn't mean that any of these companies aren't producing good products still in a lot of ways, right? I mean, there might not be as many as we want. It might not be in the form we want, but at the end of the day, I mean, we are still having a lot of really good games coming out, a lot of good games to play. We only every single day have more games to play, you know? So I don't have a lot of complaints with gaming the way that a lot of people do, because I'm very happy gaming every day. I have infinite backlog, infinite games that I'm excited about. I mean, I'm not really sure.
We're not necessarily happy with the major player.
Yeah. There's so much.
And also, I mean, you have a lot of games that people are already making now because that's what they're passionate about. Mm-hmm. And like, there's always going to be something new and like different that people want to go and test the waters.
Yep.
And sure, we may not be the happiest with AAA, but there's always AA and indie that come out with interesting things.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I think that about covers everything that I wanted to cover for the week. Did anybody else have anything that they wanted to talk about?
I mean, I never talked about Solar Punk last week because we totally ranted.
If you want to go ahead.
All right. So Solar Punk is a game that I've been playing on Xbox. It's actually a game that Max told me to try and play. He said I'd like it, and I was skeptical at first, but it's actually pretty cool. Basically, you wake up on this abandoned floating island, and there's like a bunch of them surrounding you, and it's just like wilderness. You have to build everything on your own, so you're running around and you're collecting the fucking stones and the sticks. Oh my god, the fucking sticks. I hate the sticks. You need them for everything, but there are times where you're searching and you can't fucking find anything, and it's so annoying. And you use it to make your tools, and so it's all out of the stone and the sticks and the wood, and you can literally end up building your entire base, build a house. You can build a furnace. Right now, for like animal wise, the only thing I have is a beehive, but there are rabbits everywhere. And yes, of course, I tried to kill one the first time I saw one, and I had an axe. You can't. Um, but you just the whole point of the game is to survive, and you can build not build plant crops. Like, you have to grow cotton and berries. Basically, right now it's I have to grow the berries to eat because otherwise I'll die. The water, you have to get the water and actually boil it in the furnace. You cannot drink the water because you'll just die. Unless you have like this like water basin thing you can make, and then you can drink out of that because it's the rainwater. And you have to like build a ship, and I've gotten that far. It's like a pirate ship and a blimp put together, and you're supposed to fly around to other islands, and that's where you can find other materials you need to make things. My problem is, when I was trying to dock the thing, I guess I didn't like stop fast enough, and instead of docking, I just fucking crashed and died. And when you die, it's like in other games, you lose everything and you have to go back to where you died and to get all your stuff back. And that sucked. And the weather's real. It's so freaking real. It scared my kid because lightning struck right near my camp, and it's so realistic and loud that like it freaked him out, and I felt bad. But it's so much fun. There's even like a fishing element, even though there's no fish. It's like magnet fishing, and that's how you can get like cotton and stuff like that without having to grow it. But my god, it can be a pain in the ass because like you're like, all right, I just want to get cotton because I need cotton. For some reason, you need cloth for something that you're like, I don't think that would need cloth, but fine. And all you're getting is clay and stone and sticks, and you're happy to get the sticks, but it's like, all right, but I need the fucking cotton. But it's still just like a really fun game, and I think that people should play it. And I do know that it's like multiplayer, so you can have other people in your world. Just like I know I talked about, oh my god, now I forgot the name of Outbound. It's kind of like another game like that, but it's not it's not as like you have nothing. You actually have an RV, and you drive around, and you like get blueprints, and you got to collect wood and stuff like that, and you can actually build like a fucking house on top of your RV with fucking RV magic. I showed you guys pictures before. uh, Both those games are a lot of fun. They are multiplayer, so you can have other people in the world. I just don't really like doing that. Max always tried to get me to play. Like, I've played WoW and a few other games like that, but I'm just not good in games like that. I usually end up being the reason why people end up dying, and then I feel bad because like I didn't listen and I run too far ahead. But I mean, I do think that Outbound and Solarpunk would actually be really fun games to play with other people, and especially Solarpunk, just because I've died from hunger because I couldn't grow fucking berries fast enough. It's kind of funny, but yeah, play those games. They're kind of fun.
Definitely sounds interesting. Mad, your stuff is going to be in the description of the video, but where can people find you if they're interested in following you and keeping up with what you're doing?
Yeah. I'm on Twitter and Twitch mostly. Twitch, I do early morning streams and then every other weekend and special events, that sort of thing. And then Twitter, I'm always on. So, yeah. And I'm MADkurious everywhere. So,
I'm curious. Have you tried Kick? Have you tried?
I did.
Kick
I tried it pretty early on, actually. I actually got monetized before that was like a thing that you had to earn. I was able to get it in the background, which was really cool. And I tried it out a little bit. I actually played games that are banned on Twitch that I'd been wanting to play, like Second Life and House Party and some stuff that's banned over there. So it was pretty cool. But yeah, multi-streaming, I just haven't been able to get right. So I haven't really done too much of it, but
Twitch doesn't really allow multi-streaming.
Yeah, you kind of can, but it's there's just so many complications. I kind of just stuck to what I knew eventually. But yeah, it was cool testing it out over there for sure.
I mean, I'll follow you on Twitch, but that doesn't mean I'm gonna stop making fun of Dan Clancy.
Hey, do your thing.
Everybody should make fun of Dan Clancy
because he kind of deserves it. But that's another topic for another time.
All right. Well, thank you, Mads, for coming on.
Absolutely.
And,
thank you for having me. It's been awesome getting to know y'all.
Same. Thanks everybody else for coming on, talking video games like always, and talk to everybody next week.
See you guys later. Y'all have a good day.